This is not your ordinary day here on the Long Island Railroad. Today is Monday, January 26, 2026. We're here to see an equipment move going to Port Jefferson. As we're here at St. James on the Port Jefferson branch. Normally you would see the normal weekday schedules, but not today due to the snowstorm that we had over the weekend, which this was Winter Storm Fern, which basically blanketed 2/3 of this country. Here on Long Island, particularly on the North Shore, got about 8 to 12 inches of snow. This looks like about 12 to 13 inches of snowfall we had over here, with a little bit of a sleet, freezing rain mixture. Further to the south, you had lesser amounts, but over here, you had the bigger amounts. Purpose of this visit here at St. James, we're going to be seeing an equipment move going to Port Jefferson running with dual mode equipment. This equipment is running from West Side Yard to Port Jefferson. DM30AC 517 leading 502 on the rear with 8. This equipment was actually train 39's equipment on Martin Luther King Day. Actually, Wednesday, not Martin Luther King Day, but it was the Wednesday after Martin Luther King Day. This equipment is going to be meeting up with the westbound revenue move, should be meeting up with the westbound revenue move over at Smithtown, 6655. This train is scheduled to get here at St. James about 2:21, 2:22. Then it's going to meet up with the equipment over at Smithtown before that equipment goes east. And it also appears that the Greenport Scoot is also running again. It did not run yesterday. There was a lot of canceled trains or combined trains. This diesel equipment that's running the Port Jet was actually laid up at West Side Yard as a staging piece of equipment just in case dual mode equipment would have been required. Now, actually behind this train, further the ways, this will be following train 66. Even though you have 6655, but you will also have the next eastbound train coming from Huntington, which will be 6652. Getting here at 251. More than likely, that engine move will be behind 6652. And more than likely, that equipment will meet up with 6655 at Duke. And we'll be following 6652, in which 6655 and 6652 meet up at Kings Park. The time now is 2:24. You're watching a 5-minute late Port Jeff Scoot 6655 arrive and depart here. Lo and behold, the power of this engine is DM30AC 521 on the rear, 5007 C3 cab car leading 4 cars. Sadly, we won't be able to hear its K5LLA chime on it. We're only going to be hearing the K5LL of DM30AC 517. Both 517 and 502 have K5LLs. This train's running 5 minutes late, if you notice. We'll be seeing the equipment that will be going to Port Jeff. And again, it was the same equipment spotted in South Farmingdale last Wednesday. Got to the Staples Street crossing just in the nick of timing for 39 to pass, so didn't get a chance to get my camcorder out to record. A little bit more time today to do this. This train will arrive here, depart, 5 minutes to Smithtown, and then the equipment to Port Jeff will be coming through thereafter. And it's 2:26 at 66:55. Gonna making it stop here. Sounds like the RS2's chimes. A 5007 is packed with snow. Do not know why it did not sound off Smithtown, but probably because the doors closed prior. To the west here at St. James. Nice snowy scene here on the Long Island Railroad. Earlier this morning, I was still up at Springfield, Massachusetts, due to the extreme snowy conditions up there. Had about 17 inches up there. Leaving the hotel, we encountered CSX Norfolk Southern combination going to Ayer, Massachusetts, a small intermodal. Would be Z434 or Z264, one of the two. They had a manifest that was outlawed at Chester, Massachusetts, right the way of the webcam. And we're basically leaving there about 8:45 this morning. Driving south on 91 wasn't so terrible after all. And getting the ferry at 12:15 out of Bridgeport on the Long Island. Newest vessel completed the Port Jeff ferry. Time now is 2:35. We are hearing the horns of the equipment move. The 8-car dual mode set, DM30AC 517 leading 502 on the rear. Again, this equipment's coming from West Side Yard. It is going to Port Jeff. And again, this equipment was a staging move in case of the bad weather, which would have screwed third rail. This equipment will go all the way to Port Jeff. There is no other equipment that's going to be meeting. Headlights of the equipment moving now, coming up the hill. Perfect snow scene shot for sure here at St. James. This equipment with 8 cars, this will be the equipment used for train 613 tomorrow morning. 7-car set was also sent back from 664. And the gates are now coming down at Northern Boulevard. Time now 2:36. only seen here on the Port Jefferson branch. The M30AC 517 leading 502 on the rear with 8 cars. Making its way to Port Jefferson.